Whatever Blake Lively's goal is at this point, we are no longer sure, because y'all, this woman somehow got the nerve and audacity to go against the goat of Hollywood actresses, the mother of them all, Meryl Streep. This is downright jaw-dropping and a hot stanking mess. Because Miss Lively won't stop looking for trouble. Not only did she allegedly try to kick Miss Streep out of a movie that was written for her, but she also had the guts to try and sue her when Meryl refused to be bullied on set. Anyway, since Netflix wanted Meryl and couldn't get her because of Blake, the movie was allegedly tanked, because surely nobody wants just Blake anymore. Now Blake is going on a temper tantrum because nobody wants to listen to what plantation case I wants anymore. Like, that's now wild enough. There are now reports about Hollywood allegedly blacklisting Ryan Reynolds because of Blake's shenanigans. There's a lot to actually uncover, so let's spill this tea. I'm telling y'all, it's like Blake Lively is trying to make sure the only thing she is remembered for is being a bully, because what it's like, she has taken her attitude of making everything about her and made it her mission to blow up her own career. She has been accused of mean girl behavior, and it's kind of wild how she brought that gossip girl energy into the real world, except now the tables have been broken, and they have been broken real hard, because y'all, word on the streets is that she tried to pull the same BS with Meryl Streep, and it blew up in her face. Like, that's not messy enough. There are reports that Blake's shenanigans allegedly cost Netflix millions of dollars. Okay, so here's the tea. Allegedly Meryl Streep and Blake Lively were supposed to be co-stars in a movie or campaign for Netflix, and it was supposed to be huge. It seemed that the movie's goal was for Blake Lively to play a younger version of Meryl Streep for flashbacks, but for some reason Blake wanted a much larger role. Imagine how crazy it is to want to get more screen time as a character from the past. Now I'm just telling y'all what the streets are saying, so don't hold me to it. Blake allegedly tried to take over the movie and make it about her when she was supposed to be the flashback character. It got worse when Blake allegedly tried to take over the directing of the movie, because according to her, she just didn't know how to act in a movie she wasn't producing. If you don't believe me, see for yourself.
When you work with me, I'm very passionate, so I love getting involved. I also don't feel like, I used to be insecure about this, and now I'm proud of it, but I've never felt like a good enough actor to go in and say, put me in any clothes, give me any dialogue, put me in any set, and I can transform and become. And because I wasn't that actor, I always felt bad or weird about that. And a lot of my favorite actors do that, and a lot of my other favorite actors are storytellers and are filmmakers, and they too feel like they need to be involved in the wardrobe and the set and the dialogue and the words and the storytelling to create an environment in which they feel like it's the most authentic and truthful. And I identify more with that subset of actors than the other. And now that I see that it's not just like, oh, okay, I'm an imposter and I can't do this thing, so I'm embarrassed about it. I see like, oh, a lot of the people I admire most do that, and I can do that, and I can do that really well. So really stepping into that, I've done that in this film. I mean, the work I did as an actor on this film pales in comparison to the work I did outside of the acting. It was very minimal compared to everything else, and I feel so grateful to have had that level of authorship and involvement. It makes me that much more proud of the film.
Anyway, Blake supposedly bullied her way through the talking stages of the movie and eventually got her way, or so she thought. When Meryl realized that this movie was too much of a hassle for a legend like her, she dipped. She wasted no time before leaving, because who has time for all that drama? So she left, and that's when Netflix realized that they made a huge mistake not kicking Blake off and keeping Meryl. And if you thought that was bad, Netflix allegedly tanked the whole movie because there was already no story without Meryl Streep. Anyway, Netflix's losses, and Meryl cannot be bothered when she has other things to devote her time to. But like, that's not crazy enough. There are reports that Blake Lively is allegedly planning to sue Meryl for costing her a lot of money in income that she would have gotten from the movie. She plans to get that money up one way or another. It's crazy how these things are now coming out about Blake, considering how long she has managed to keep her good girl image. We even thought that Justin Baldoni was crazy when he tried to expose her the first time around, but look where we are. The wild part is that Justin and Meryl aren't the only actors who have had problems with Blake on set, because there is a long list, including Margot Robbie. According to several insiders, Margot really doesn't care for Blake, and it all got worse when the Barbie movie was being cast. See, when it came to the casting of Barbie, Greta Gerwig, the director, and Margot wanted to showcase femininity, feminism, and teamwork, and leave it to Blake Lively to try to steal the spotlight. If you're thinking surely she didn't want to be the Barbie You're right, she totally wanted to be Barbie. Insane, right? Most of the women who were considered for roles in this iconic movie were cast, not Blake though, but it might interest you to know that when the movie was still in the works, Blake's name was thrown into the mix of actors to play the OG Barbie. Allegedly, Blake and Margot's teams actually started talking about Blake getting cast in the movie. Now, since Greta wrote the part of OG Barbie specifically for Margot Robbie, it was decided that Blake should take another part. However, a source spilled the tea and said that Blake wanted to be Barbie in all cases. Y'all know how different actresses played different Barbies. Allegedly, Blake wanted to be the only Barbie. She wanted to play it all how she intended to make that work. I don't know, y'all. All that mattered was that she tried to bring her spotlight to the set of Barbie, and Margot yeet her out. As always, Blake went crying to her dragons again. She wanted to have more creative control over this movie, and when you think about it, it just means that this tactic of her pushing herself into the production of the movie has been a long time coming. Anyway, this silly behavior led people to start picking sides between Margot Robbie and her husband and Blake Lively. Since these A-list celebrities have cliques, it was obvious that Blake wasn't winning the rivalry, and if you thought that was the end, think again. Blake is out to make enemies of everyone she's worked with, and she's helping her boo catch the heat as well. Before that though, we need to talk about the insanity that went down between her and Anna Kendrick, and surprise, surprise, it happened on the set of another movie. Yes, I'm talking about Another Simple Favor, the follow-up to their 2018 film A Simple Favor. I mean, you work with someone for that long and all your co-star can say about you is, I don't know, we work really well together. Be for real. Fans are sure that the reason Anna has been really careful about the comments she gives when she's asked about Lively lately is that she doesn't want to be hit with a lawsuit.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it feels good when Anna gives me confidence, too. I like compliments. I'm not below compliments. That's what my mom always says. She's like, wants me to compliment her, and she's like, I'm not below compliments. I'm like, it's clear that you're not, because she's always soliciting.
Okay, because you were just telling me about like weird expressions that she gets wrong, wouldn't it be, I'm not above compliments?
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Oh, she gets it all wrong. I never even thought about it. She says it. Yes, she's not above compliments. My mom gets everything sort of
like expression. She was just telling me like the like.
She'll be like smooth as pie. She'll be smooth as silk or whatever.
Easy as pie.
Yeah, right. And smooth as silk. But my mom, I think, is a very confident person, and so for me, yeah, I sort of like struggled with that because I've sometimes judged her for being so confident, which I think is like not fair, right?
Yeah, you're such a bad daughter.
Terrible daughter. See, this is an entire therapy session. What you've stepped into, you didn't realize.
So both of you are very active on social media, and there are a lot of people have opinions about you. How do you kind of just like, you know, not let it affect you at all?
Everyone's opinion of me is just so positive. I do let it affect me. I do. Because everyone's like, you're great, and I'm like, I know.
You're not great. Blocked.
Yeah.
Do you block people then?
No, I've muted some people. Now that it's a function on Twitter and Instagram, there's a couple people that I have muted. Good. Yeah. Blake Lively.
You can mute people on Instagram?
Yeah, it's a new feature.
Really?
I know. Get excited.
Wow.
Anna even mentioned removing Blake from her Instagram account. At the Another Simple Favor premiere, she went above and beyond to try to keep Blake from bringing her up at all. The two of them didn't even pose for photos together, and Anna took every precaution to avoid bringing up Blake.
Poor Anna Kendrick, you guys. She is having to answer questions about Blake Lively tonight. She is at South by Southwest. It is the premiere of her film, Another Simple Favor, that Blake Lively is also starring in. The two of them are both there, and there are definitely a lot of slick questions being asked, trying to get responses out of Anna Kendrick in regards to Blake Lively and everything that is going on. E.T. posted asking Anna what it means to be working with Blake again, and she was like, oh, you know. Oh my god.
It means to be working with Blake again.
Talking about you all day.
Then Variety, in a different interview on the carpet, was asking her about the movie and like everything going on right now. Definitely trying to be like, do you think the movie has been impacted by the Blake and Justin stuff, without being so blunt? And Anna tried her best to be like, I don't know, like, what's going on? And she walked away so fast. Like, she did not want to be asked any more questions like that.
How does it feel like the movie's being impacted kind of by everything happening around, going on in the world?
Why, what happened? I did ayahuasca, and the last year of my life is just gone, but I've heard the movie's amazing.
Wait, thank you.
I just can't imagine how uncomfortable tonight has been trying to like dodge all of these questions and like pretend like nothing is wrong.
Imagine your expression showing how hard you're trying to avoid talking about someone you've been working with. That's a lot of work, and I want to thank Anna for keeping things civil. Blake's husband Ryan Reynolds is being pulled into her issue, so it turns out that her actions have more repercussions than she does. It's terrible, bro. that people who would normally support Ryan Reynolds are suddenly disparaging him and labeling him a narcissist. Fans have been making allowances for Ryan because he's so talented at what he does, even though he's not flawless. People are now bringing up the subject of Blake and Reynolds' initial meeting once more. Before they became romantically involved, Ryan was still married to Scarlett Johansson, and Blake Lively was seeing Penn Badgley. In case you were unaware, the two of them were married to different people before they became together. The next thing you know, Penn Badgley abruptly disappears from the picture and Ryan and Scarlett are splitting up. This is the jerk. Despite the public relations stunts these two have been doing all over town lately, it appears like they might not be together for very long after this. After all, there have been increasing allegations that Blake has had affairs with other actresses since she got married. But ever since the Justin Baldwin case began, it appears that their cracks have been more noticeable. It appears that this is the beginning of the end for them because their closest friends and influential associates do not want to be connected to them. They have essentially been destroyed by the numerous litigation. Because no one wants to be involved in this kind of turmoil, Blake's Dragon Gang is quitting their employment as soon as possible. To make matters worse, celebrities are beginning to take sides, which is not Blake's, and they have begun unfollowing her on social media. Even when celebrities remain silent in such circumstances, they typically don't go so far as to unfollow themselves. This time, however, they don't give a damn. Kelly, Travis, both Blake and Ryan Reynolds have been unfollowed by Taylor's boyfriend. Blake also unfollowed Travis Kelce after noticing this. To make matters worse, even though we all assumed that Gigi and her best friend Taylor were pals, Blake was absent from her birthday party. And now that Gigi and Taylor are hanging out without her, it appears that Blake was the group's phony female. Blake's story of suffering goes on since the damage control isn't functioning at all, everyone. Blake was named one of the Times 100 most influential persons the other day, and the Times was also trawling for dirt, so the rumors got out. Since when did bullies and narcissists get named on this list, is the question that fans are asking. People began criticizing the Times when this list was released and requesting that anyone pay to be included. Now to add to the mess, neither Blake's spouse nor her so-called besties expressed an.
But for people who see this movie, who relate to the topics of this movie on a deeply personal level, they're really going to want to talk to you. This movie is going to affect people and they're going to want to tell you about their lives. So if someone understands the themes of this movie, comes across you in public, and they want to really talk to you, what's the best way for them to be able to talk to you about this? How would you recommend they go about it?
Like asking for like my address or my phone number or like my location share. Or I could just location share you and then we could I'm just curious.
Just social security number.
I'm a Virgo, so I'm like, are we talking logistics? Are we talking emotionally?
You see how she made a joke about something so serious? Yes, she continued talking about how much she had been through in the last 2 years before putting her mother in the spotlight by saying that her mother had instructed her to share her survivor story. It's so bizarre that she's now talking about DVN and SA that I'm not even sure how her PR team came to believe this was a good idea.
It's an interesting thing to be called influential. It's not only an honor, it's a significant responsibility. How we use that matters. Who and what we stand up for and what we stay silent about matters. I have so much to say about the last 2 years of my life, but tonight is not the forum. My life was influenced most by my mother. She wanted me to share with you that she is a survivor of the worst crime someone can commit against a woman. I've watched her conceal her raw and undeserved shame my entire life. So as her daughter, being asked to share this today is monumental. My mom never got justice from her work acquaintance who attempted to take her life when she was the mother of 3 young kids years before I was born. She has always credited her beating heart today with the story she heard from another woman in a similar circumstance, speaking on the radio as my mom drove home one day. The woman painfully and graphically shared how she escaped. I am here and my mom is here because that woman not only survived, but she told others how. Never underestimate a woman's ability to endure pain.
She was hauled for this, which was a very clear PR ploy and a personal one. While I can say for sure that this is not adequate damage control for everything that this woman and her husband have been doing, I know that this whole situation has been dragged out for long enough if more and more people are going to be calling out Blake Lively for her attitude and her treatment of her co-stars. It's only going to get worse, but I need to know what y'all think about this. Do you want to see this thing wrapped up and placed in the trash? Or are you in the mood for more drama? Is it sufficient that individuals such as Meryl Streep are now subtly criticizing Blake Lively for transforming films and artwork into plays and influential performances? Do you guys believe Blake can get the media to support her once more? Please share your thoughts in the comments section. Additionally, remember to watch this subsequent video.